Hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Banner and Backbone with Centered America presenting Centering the American Discussion. Today's episode 6, y'all. We've been doing this for a few weeks now, and we love it. Today, we're going to be talking about the power of primaries. And so keep coming on in, everyone. Welcome. Hit that heart as you come on in. Share with your friends. If you're on Substack, let us know. Say hi in the chat. Engage with us. We're on Substack, YouTube, and Twitch today. And so, again, this is Banner and Backbone. I'm Nick Perro, and I've got my good friend, Sherrod Swaney, with me. Welcome, Sherrod. How are you today, brother?
I'm doing very well. I can't wait to, get into the important discussion of primaries, the power of primaries, and I'm very happy to be here again this week. It's going to be a good episode.
Awesome. I'm so glad to have you. I really enjoy these discussions. They, I think, are bringing a lot for us. I know it's been helpful for me. It gives me some new ideas, and it's also building some really important and really strong connections between our communities and helping show the power of what we can do and our voices. And um, I think we've had some impact over this past couple weeks, especially around the power primaries. And I want to talk about one case in particular because I I'm waiting to hear if they're willing. This individual is willing to come back on for an interview or come on for an interview with the Find Out podcast team. They talked about it in their episode this past week or yesterday. Is Graham Plattner. They have
Mhm.
extended invites to Graham Plattner to come on the show to explain what what it all means, to explain it, to answer questions. They've extended a few. They don't know if he's going to accept. They aren't holding their breath, it doesn't seem like, but they have extended an invite to him and they have offered the chance for him to actually explain himself and explain what's going on because there's a difference between um, like we can't purity test ourselves
Yeah.
and we can't accept symbols of hate either. We can't just forgive white people for mistakes that we wouldn't forgive for anybody else. Um, so I want to get your thoughts as we've had another week of as we've gone through a full week of knowing about the Graham and plus some about Graham Plattner's Totenkopf, Knots SS death head skull tattooed on his chest that he had covered up. Poorly, um, but covered up nonetheless during a political campaign. So I'd love to get your thoughts on that and
Yeah.
say hi. Maybe introduce Centered America again for anyone who's kind of new with us. Because we do have some new people in the chat on Substack, I see. So, can you give a quick intro for yourself,
Of
Centered
course.
America, and then your thoughts on the Graham Plattner issue and how it's powerful in a primary?
Yeah. So, welcome to everyone who's new. My name is Sherrod Swaney. I'm the co-director of Centered America. Centered America is a 501c4 nonprofit organization defending democracy, resisting authoritarianism, and giving resources back to the people to be able to fight back against the Trump administration and against tyranny. Um, when it comes to the Graham Plattner situation, I think we have to make sure that we remember that we are fighting Nazis already. Like, we are fighting a tyrannical administration. We are fighting authoritarianism, and we want to choose the best person to represent us in each state. We want to choose the best representatives all around. And if we're picking someone that isn't representative of the people, we can't actually fight back in the way that we want to. And I think for primaries, going to the topic of primaries, primaries get a lot of low voter turnout, which means that the people that are actually voting in primaries are more, ideologically extreme. Um, and so it leads us to candidates like Graham Plattner. And that's why it's so important to get out that vote and actually make sure people are registering and going and voting in those primaries. So I think with the case of Graham Plattner, it's hard to say that that is the best we have to offer. But
Yes.
it's not just the Totenkopf, it's his Reddit comments, it's his past in general, and I believe, like, I believe that people can change. People can have, a redemption arc, right? However, that doesn't have to be in the US Senate, and we can find better people, that fit the role of a representative for the people.
There was a comment in the chat, and I did not listen, from one of our friends, PJ. Was she asked, "Did you listen to Plattner on Jen Psaki's show last night? I will give him grace, and I will continue to donate to him. Keep demanding perfection, and keep losing Democrats."
Yeah.
I will gladly go listen to the show or the interview uh, of Jen Psaki and Graham Plattner. Absolutely, I will absolutely be willing to change my position on this, if there is a real explanation for it, and if that's what that is, if the interview with Jen Psaki is like a real explanation and something that is real. But I have tattoos on me. I cannot believe that somebody did not know the meaning of a tattoo on them for over 18 years. It's not a purity test when my family was killed by Nazis in World War II, and I don't want to have people with symbols of hate tattooed on them representing us, because he would then be a representative of the entire Democratic Party. And every single thing he does, they will hyper focus on. It's not just about Graham Plattner. It's about the entire Democratic Party. Is is the Democratic Party willing to accept and normalize symbols of hate? He talked about it as a Totenkopf over time. He's also had some really bad views on gays and women. And he's said some really rapey sounding things, and we're supposed to be against that culture, and not even against, but we're supposed to be trying to rid ourselves of that culture in a positive way and learn from it.
Yeah.
Maybe he's grown, maybe he's made leaps and bounds, but I've never posted something on Reddit like that that's just homophobic and sexist and shit like that. And I've been a shitty person too in my life. Um,
And someone said his campaign manager and political director quit. What more do you need? And
and he
I,
signed all these NDAs. Like
yeah,
we're facing radical darkness in information, and they just want to push stuff under the rug and sweep it away. Um,
and I've
I
heard his explanation for it. I've heard what he said.
Yeah,
I
so
heard,
have I.
and what he was saying was, well, I was in the military, and it was just me and a bunch of other men, so I didn't have, access to other women and learning that information,
That's
and
bullshit.
so when I finally got out of the military and I was able to talk to women who were in the military, I actually learned what this means, and I saw the importance of it, and like that doesn't negate all of the terrible shit he said online, and the fact that he has a Nazi tattoo. I look, I think
You
there's
know,
way more people that can be representative in Maine.
I applaud his the way that he took accountability in some sense there, but you have to ask ourselves, right? Is this really the best we can present? And would you excuse this behavior and these excuses for what he's done with his body um, for yourself, right? A lot of this is, at least from my perspective, if I were to see somebody like that, or if I were to have a friend like that, and their excuse was for getting a Nazi tattoo, oh, I just didn't know, I was around a bunch of guys, I'd be like, okay, that's not a reason to do that, right? That is just showing your ignorance and stupidity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if that's the best that you can do, if this is who you are and you want to present yourself as somebody who's changed, well, then maybe don't give us these bullshit excuses and start to bring us down this path of, oh, I'm enlightened, I found myself through self-discovery, blah blah blah. It's I wouldn't expect anybody like that to have any real understanding of what needs to be done in this country, because they don't know what they need to do for themselves. And that's shown through those Reddit comments. That's shown through that tattoo. And that's shown especially through the way that through the way that he has explained these incidences in his past.
Yeah, and like it's like if you wouldn't keep them around as a friend, or if you had to hold them accountable and you don't like their explanation, why would you have them as a representative? If you know that you would treat your friends to a higher standard, why would you vote them in as someone that would represent you? Because
Exactly,
like
because these candidates are a representation of your voice. These constituents are we the constituents. We elect these candidates to represent our voice. Is that really who your voice is? Is that who you want representing your voice? My answer is no, I don't. And I think that again, let's go back to the conversation. There are many other options in Maine. And if it takes 2 months to find one, or 4 months. It's about finding a person that has dignity and is willing to accept the challenges moving forward with this administration, but also having a sense of self-respect.
yeah. No, I agree. And I think that I really like what you said, because it's like we have to treat these people like they would be someone in our lives that we are holding accountable. And if you wouldn't even just say, all right, you know what? I'm going to give you grace. You can grow, and you can say, oh shit, I know that this is a bad thing. But you can't do that in the US Senate. That's like the premise of this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm listening to, in the background for myself, I'm listening to the Jen Psaki interview with Graham Plattner. I can't replay it here because copyright violations. We want to be able to replay this show. And so I won't play it on here. I will change my opinion on Graham Plattner if he is willing to come on to, say, a Find Out podcast episode and have a very tough interview with those gentlemen. Because Chris Goldsmith is a registered Nazi hunter. Like, that is his job. And he takes this stuff really seriously. And Tim Fullerton is a strategist and a long-time strategist, and has been worked in the Obama administration, has been part of the system, but is now actually someone who's working really hard on the outside to get rid of some of the shitty things that are going on. He has some really tough questions. Like, if any of you think It's Luke's Last Brain Cell would be nice to somebody with a Nazi tattoo, I don't think you've ever watched one of his videos. So I'll change my mind if he goes on to an interview that is not a legacy mainstream media, where they're going to, even with Jen Psaki, who isn't asking hardball questions. Is my question to you too, to people in the audience, and I don't live in Maine, so it doesn't impact us directly as we're voting. However, this is a senator, and it does really impact the nation. So this is not a state position. This is a national race. All Senate races are national races. I could go into white neighborhoods and talk to people too, and have like tough conversations with white people without having to have previously had a Nazi tattoo on me. And that's the big thing, is like, again, the Senate is not your redemption arc. You have to do your redemption arc and then go to the Senate. Like, you make your redemption arc and then go to the Senate, unless you're already a senator, and then you can make a redemption arc. I'm not saying that there's anybody else right now that I would actively encourage people to vote for in Maine. I looked into Jordan Wood, his campaign a little bit, and I've gotten some information back about like where he gets some of his funding and who's some of the folks who've endorsed him. And I don't actively endorse any candidate in Maine. I'll say that. I'm going to continue to watch the interview, PJ, but he has no record. And I understand we need outsiders, and I understand we need people who are going to fight and work for all of us. But I'm not represented by someone with a hate symbol on them. Like, that's what that was. He knew what it was, and the excuse that I was in the military with a bunch of men and didn't have any female role models. What a fucking unaccountable answer. What a fucking
You're
childish
just
answer
deflecting
that is.
blame at this point, right? It's like, oh, it wasn't my fault. I didn't have anybody around me to tell me the difference.
Yeah.
That's
Men
not
can't
a
do
reason
anything
to
wrong.
do something. That's not a reason to excuse what you've done.
It's
That just makes you look
misogynistic.
blatantly stupid. I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, that's really what's happening. If you want to say that you got this tattoo, you did all this shitty stuff while you were in the military because you didn't have anybody to tell you different, that's not an excuse for your actions.
And
I'm
I think
sorry,
his
it's not.
excuse for the Reddit comments was, I just wanted to get a rise out of people on the internet. And Shane, I want to know your thoughts about the balance between, we needed to elect a Democrat in Maine, one that actually has electability, and beat Donald Trump, get more people in the Senate that are Democrats that'll vote to make sure that people have their health care, but we also don't want to elect a Nazi. So like, how can we balance this like fight and making sure that like we take our wins where we can get them, but sometimes we have to lose a battle to win a battle. What do you think?
I mean, there's like, I've been sitting here like listening to you guys, and I had two thoughts. One, what the fuck? Like, you just literally said, we have to pick our battles. Do we want a Democrat who's a Nazi, or like, it's just like,
What the fuck are we
one,
doing?
let's just
There's
take a
no
second
battle
and-
here,
and-
is there?
And be like, what the fuck? Okay, because like that needs to be said. What the hell is going on that is coming out of your mouth, Sherrod? Like, that is crazy. And two, I want to distill all of this down, because I think that when in the context of the Senate, in the context of all of these things, I think we just need to highlight one thing. And this applies to so many things I've been talking about recently, and on many fronts. It's accountability. It's accountability to your representatives, to your actions. Like Totenkopf, what the fuck? They're death heads, right? Like, it's very simple. They were the stormtroopers. This is the kind of fucking people that were the worst of the worst. These are the people who walked into towns and indiscriminately shot people and threw them in pits, mass graves. Okay, and then they would fire machine guns into those pits to make sure that everyone was dead. These are the people. So if you're in the military and you're getting a death heads tattoo, you know what? Shame on the military for not giving that man a dishonorable discharge. That is the organization that went and killed Nazis, and you're honoring their legacy by emulating them, by putting that on your body. I'm sorry, but shame on leadership. That's not freedom of expression. We talk about hate speech is not free speech. I'm sorry. Dislike it, like it. That's my stance. Number one, you need to be accountable to what you put on your body. I have tattoos all over me, okay? If I tattooed a swastika on my body, if I tattooed a Totenkopf tattoo on my body, I would have to explain that to people. If my neck had a giant, German cross on it, okay? And I wanted to put myself on the internet in front of people, they have every right to say, Shane, what the hell are you, what is that, right? Like, and if I said, I thought it was a plus symbol and I like math, okay, then you're dumb, Shane. You're stupid.
Yeah.
And like, that's on you.
Exactly.
There was peer pressure in my algebra class, and they're like, we're all getting different math symbols. My buddy had an equal sign that was like 2 lightning bolts that he put on his neck. And then my other friend had like a division sign that ended up looking like a swastika, but like we were just doing like, no. All right, like be honest with yourself.
You're a fucking idiot.
If you're gonna, and I'm making light of this because I want to hammer my point home. And I want to make this palatable, but at the same time, like, this is accountability. If you take actions, and this is the thing where I think that we might be failing a little bit as a group of people pushing back. And I think we're allowing people to get away with things that are wrong in the face of the fact that they are speaking out against something worse. And there's no way that tomorrow will be better if we allow these kind of things to happen, if we allow the people that are fighting for us to shirk accountability and to do the wrong thing just because they're in opposition to the greater evil. I'm going to point to Gavin Newsom, okay? Like, Gavin Newsom is a terrible person, guys. It makes people so upset when I call him a terrible person. I'm telling you, he's a bad guy. Get it through your heads. Don't like me. Like me. I don't give a shit. I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm here to tell you that Gavin Newsom had Steve Bannon on his podcast, the very same man who just called Donald Trump a divine individual, said he had divine providence, advocated for a third term, and he laughed with Steve Bannon on his podcast. He has openly stated that he has a problem with trans people. He has a history of being anti-LGBTQ+. Guys, wake the fuck up, okay? If we're gonna win, if we're gonna flip this shit, it's gonna have to be accountability. Guys, when Newsom comes up for re-election, god damn it, there's a woman running. It is a no fucking brainer.
Isn't Newsom termed out? He can't run for governor anymore?
Well, who knows?
I think he's termed. Well, yeah, who knows? I mean, rules don't matter anymore in America, apparently.
He's fighting. He's fighting for California. He's redistricting. He's the one whose social media account is absolutely roasting Trump. We need Gavin Newsom. I'm willing to put myself on the line. No, dude, get the fuck out of here. You hate homeless people. All right. Like, I've seen what you've done to my homeless communities. I've seen you disappearing these people. I see you bussing them around. I know what happened in Silicon Valley. I know that you refused to raise corporate tax rates just because you look good in the spotlight now. That's what's going on in Maine. You see a guy who is a questionable individual, who at the very least is a piece of shit, who got a Nazi tattoo on his body while he was in the military doing the business of killing people. Okay, that is the business of the military. You can say, yes, you are taking that upon yourself, okay, as a person who joins the military, to wear that burden so that we don't have to put yourself in that position so that the people of America feel safe. But if you do that, you should do that with the somber understanding of what you're putting on your shoulders. Nick, you didn't join the military and know that you might be put in that position or were put in that position and take that lightly. Whereas someone who puts something like that on their body clearly takes the human life with a certain sense of, right? And that in and of itself is a problem. So it's accountability. We cannot choose people that are choosing to be unaccountable, because if they are willing to be that way today, you can believe, and we should have to believe and understand, they will be that way tomorrow. They will be that way in office. And if we don't choose to be accountable and hold them accountable now, because they are criticizing Trump, because they are calling him weak and cognitively addled, because they are saying the right thing right now, we're failing ourselves. We're setting ourselves up for failure. Good enough is not the future. Good enough is how we got here. Good enough is what Biden was. And look at what happened. They didn't stand up to Trump. They didn't release the Epstein files. They could have done a lot of things. They handed it over. They could have arrested him. They could have done so many things. And they didn't, because good enough is not what we need. The world is on a knife's edge. This is Occam's razor, and it's do or die, and accountability is the cornerstone of a better future. So
that was such a great answer.
So well said.
And I'm so glad you answered that question, because I knew that you'd you'd answer it with real emotion and force, and I knew it was a good question for you. But me and Gavin were talking about this last night. We were talking about the shitty strategy that Gavin Newsom was trying to use a couple months back, with having Charlie Kirk on, Steve Bannon, and we were talking about how it doesn't do what he thought that it was going to do, treating this other side like they're human beings, and it's just a human to human interaction, is just a terrible. It's not a strategy. And so, yeah, I like what you were saying, Shane, about how good enough is not enough. We need more than good enough, because that's what fights back. And Gavin, I think you had a lot to say yesterday when we were having this conversation.
Yeah, I just kind of want to start off by addressing what Shane said, right? Accountability. We cannot continue to advocate for accountability on this administration and then go and do the exact opposite in Maine, right? We cannot continue to advocate for accountability if we continue to do what we're doing in Maine. It completely juxtaposes our entire position. And I was talking about this with Sherrod last night, especially with Gavin Newsom, because I have never really liked the guy. And Shane points out exactly what the reason with Gavin Newsom is. and I think
pretty good
that
comparison.
What he was trying to do with appealing to Bannon, appealing to Kirk, it's like, I don't want to be relatable to those guys. I don't want to feel like that we have similar opinions on stuff, because we don't. We are fundamentally different. We view things very, very different.
Our moral
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't want to appeal to these Republicans that like Charlie Kirk or that are advocates for Steve Bannon, because that's not what this is. This is not let's get everybody under the same tent. It's not. There are some people that have done terrible things like Bannon and have said terrible things like Kirk that I don't want to associate with at all. And I don't want to put somebody in a position of power that does associate with them.
Yeah.
Period. End of discussion. I mean, seriously, these are not the best people for the job. And if we continue to say that they are, we're not going to get any better. It's going to be a shitty administration on both sides of the aisle. And until people realize that, until people come to the realization that there are other options other than electing shitty white guys to office, we're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah. Like, I think part of continuing with what PJ had said in the chat to listen to the interview, I've been listening to it while we're doing this too. And I got to the part and I paused it because I wanted to make sure I heard what Shane and Gavin were both saying here. I just got to the part where he said when he got it and how an avowed anti-fascist his whole life has a tattoo that looks similar to a Nazi tattoo or a hate tattoo, whatever it was exactly. He didn't say it was one. He did not take any accountability that it was a Nazi tattoo. He said it looked similar and people are making too big of a deal of it, and it's just the machine pushing back. I'm not the fucking machine. I rage against the machine. I've literally listened to Rage Against the Machine and took their lessons to heart as a kid. Like, this is not fucking child's play. Like, this is our Senate. This is the most gerrymandered system we have in our country that props up rich old white men. Why are we going to elect another white man to this position when he has a fucking Nazi symbol on him and he refuses to admit that it was even a Nazi symbol? He just said it looked like. No, fucker, it was one. You got it in Romania. You got it at a place where you had to go and find out get someone who was not in America to do it, because in America they don't do symbols like that normally. It's illegal at most tattoo shops to do that. In Germany, where he was near, was it Croatia? Wherever he got it in Europe, He got it somewhere in a pro-Nazi tattoo shop. And the person who tattooed him knew what they were doing when they put that on him. And the excuse of, oh, it was just a bunch of Marines and we didn't know anybody better, nobody was curious. Shut the fuck up. Don't insult the Marine Corps like that.
That's
I
what I'm
know
saying,
Marines.
dude.
I
Fuck,
know
that's a
Marines
Marine
who are intellectually curious and amazing individuals. Don't insult the whole fucking Marine Corps just because you are intellectually uncurious and stunted and think it's okay
Holy shit!
to
Yeah.
have a fucking Nazi tattoo on you. You literally insulted from the entire Marine Corps by saying, "Oh, we're just a bunch of dumb grunts." No, you're fucking not. The Marine Corps has some of the smartest people in our military. They're the most lethal force we have. They're the first in, last out. That is what they do. They're incredibly good at their job. And if you don't think the best of the best in the Marine Corps are intellectually curious, you're fucking dumb because they want to learn. They learn new things all the fucking time. That's how they keep ahead of everybody else. That's why Marines are smarter than most branches of the military. But we don't ever talk about that because, oh, they're dumb grunts. Oh, they're dumb Marines. No, they're fucking not. And Graham Plattner, don't fucking insult the entire Marine Corps by calling them dumb. Like, that's what you just did. You took zero accountability and said a bunch of men can never be held accountable because we're never intellectually curious enough. Bullshit. Bullshit. I held my fraternity brothers in college accountable. When I was a college student, I was in a fraternity and I held my brothers accountable there. And then I went into the army and held my friends accountable there. So shut the fuck up. Stop insulting our entire services, our entire armed services, just because you're too intellectually lazy to look up what a fucking tattoo is on your body. I have a Jewish Star of David on my fucking forearm for a reason. Because that's where they put the Holocaust numbers. And because I have something already there, they can never put it there on me. So fuck you, Graham Plattner. Your excuse is not okay. You should drop out, and the Mainers should demand better for themselves because they deserve better. Because you don't need to be represented by a Nazi. And how are we going to then be able to call out Pete Hegseth for his Crusader and Nazi tattoos and white supremacist tattoos if we allow someone in our own party to have that tattoo?
Yeah, this is the year of the dark horse. Okay, like let's like
False
you know what?
flags.
If you look at somebody, I'm serious. Like if you have any inkling of like, you know what, I could run. Guess what? I'm telling you, okay? Like I'm sure everyone here at least has seen the play Hamilton. All right, like that we all. But I think of
No,
I think of the
good,
part
watch it.
where like Aaron Burr, he wins a seat in the Senate, right? And he's like, I've been going door to door, and I'm just go if you want to. The guy or gal who goes door to door and wins off of that, who doesn't take PAC money, the AOC is the person who wins. If they take a single fucking dollar from anybody, you don't want them because that's the problem. Guess what? If you do this shit grassroots, if you really do it grassroots, you win. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
What?
Guess what? Find a freaking 18-year-old who has grown up saturated in social media. Have them run your social media campaign. Have them decimate the algorithm because they lived in it. They're steeped in it. They'll do it for free. Okay? Find one. Run your campaign. Do it grassroots. Dark horse the fuck out of this. The primaries are coming. Guess what? If the DNC freaking endorses them, they won't endorse Zoran Mamdani. We don't want them. We don't want a DNC endorsement because guess the fuck what? They won't endorse Zoran Mamdani. He's going to win. He's going to win. And guess what? The DNC wouldn't endorse him. We want a Zoran Mamdani everywhere. We have to break the two-party hold. It has to be destroyed. It's like, I hate to say this, guys, but it's all or nothing for us here because it's either we get it, we win here, or we're in deep shit because we just don't know how much pressure the DNC can take before it cracks and flips too. It's an institution. Our institutions have consistently failed over and over and over and over again. We either break the hold of the institution and the two-party system, or we or we basically screw ourselves indefinitely here. The primary, if you are voting in these primaries, what the Democratic Party should see, they should see, holy shit, every single person we endorsed just either got nearly upseated or they got beaten by a dark horse candidate. Because guess what? I'm going to look at that ballot and I'm going to say, okay, well, let me see who's really running. Everyone should be looking this year. And that's where you should be looking at, well, who is a person and who is a prop? Seriously. Because if you work for the DNC, you answer to a larger entity. Okay. And like I see, if the DNC is not supposedly endorsing primary candidates, good. We don't let the people endorse these people.
The DNC says they're not, but they are. They are endorsing primary candidates because candidates who are already in office have a wealth of money and access that people who are out of office don't. And if we want to make our primary systems better anyway, is everyone should have equal access to those materials, but we should also lose our party systems just in general. Like, fuck the parties. The parties
I wrote
suck.
so many essays on that like months ago. I wrote like 5 or 6 in a row where I was just railing into the universe about how we need to get. And that's the thing, is like, I say these things. When I say this, people attack me. People on the left attack me. They're like, the Democrats are fighting for us. Like, you're wrong. Like, if you break from the Democrats, we're fucked. You know what? Cut it the fuck out, guys. I'm fighting for you. I'm screaming for you. It's not about the Democrats. I care more about you than any institution. If you are falling into that trap, I'm going to call you out for being part of the problem. What is Centered America? Centered America is centering. Guess what? The Democrats are a right-leaning political institution. They are not centrist. They are right skewing. The only difference is that the Republicans are fucking fascists. The American Fascist Party is a fascist party, which will make anyone look left. Yes, technically, if you're looking at the political spectrum and you have the American Fascist Party and you have the Democratic Party, they are more to the left.
Take a look at Andrew fucking Cuomo. Take a look at Andrew Cuomo, who's now running as an independent. He calls himself a Democrat. And that is really what the institution of the Democratic Party really is. They are the Andrew Cuomos. Zoran Mamdani knocked on 1.5, his campaign knocked on 1.5 million doors, over that amount. More than 1.5 million doors. And he is going to win. Most of his donations came from people like us. Individuals, not super PAC money. Like, most of his donations came from people that actually believed in his campaign. And he knocked on those doors, and that's how we know that grassroots campaigns actually work. We know that if you go door to door, if you are getting those relational organizing, you're going, okay, we're knocking on your door. Tell your friends and family. Tell people that you care about our policies. You are more likely to win, and we can win that way. And if you have an inkling, like Shane was saying, that you want to run, fucking run. Knock on the doors. Get people that you know to knock on them for you, and get that organizing down. You will win.
He had 90,000 volunteers. Still has 90,000 volunteers and growing.
For free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Free.
Like,
it's not impossible, people. It just
if people
takes
believe
work.
It'll happen.
All it takes is organizing with each other and building the community that we're doing right now. And I want to make sure I'm clear. I said fuck the parties. I do mean fuck both parties. I think they're broken institutions. I think they're completely broken. I do not advocate voting for like the Green Party. I think that's a fucking broken institution too, because Jill Stein is a Russian plant who just comes out of nowhere every 4 years and sits with Vladimir Putin and then just reappears every 4 years, this little fucking clone of a person that never seems to age, doesn't have any ideas, doesn't do anything, and just sucks votes away. That is not what I'm advocating for. I'm advocating for both parties to be completely torn down in the long run because they both are bad. Because the problem is we have a monopolized party system where two parties are one party controlling the message and just splitting it right and slightly less right.
Whoa,
God, that's not
balloons.
a celebration. I want to
You know-
pop all those fucking balloons from that one. But like, the thing is,
Dramatic effect.
we need a more parliamentary system. We need more parties. We need smaller parties because we need to break the monopoly of the political system. That's the problem. We've been convinced that two parties is how the system has to be. There was more than two parties in the beginning of our country. Our founders specifically said, don't do two parties, you'll ruin the country. Maybe we should fucking listen. It's about fixing what's broken by replacing it within the system itself. I'm not advocating for tearing down the American system. I like our constitutional republic. I like our democratic system. I like that we get representative democracy. I'd like it a little closer to being more pure democracy and maybe more of a parliamentary representative system so that we actually had a voice amongst everything. And I do advocate for ranked choice voting and getting rid of the electoral college because that's for slaves. That was to keep slaves counted less and give the South more power. We need to get rid of that. It should be popular vote. Senators and representatives, yes, are state level votes, but senators should have to go through a much more rigorous process for primaries. Like why we're talking about this, primaries are fucking important because right now Maine is in a primary and they have a candidate named Graham Plattner with a Totenkopf tattoo on him for anybody who joined late. That is not acceptable because we cannot accept those symbols of hate and then somehow morally still say Pete Hegseth's tattoos are bad. Once you accept the symbols of hate as okay, then they become okay all around. That's how they become normalized. We're supposed to not normalize them. Like, stop obeying the fascist agenda, which is normalizing hate symbols. It's not a tattoo. It is a hate symbol that he got tattooed onto him and then blew it off as though it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I want to add something really quick because, like, and I know this stands like if you, look, I want to go back to people. If you're just a person running, okay, even me, I have a presence in 65 countries and all 50 states in this country, okay, which means that if you want to run anywhere, message me, message Senator America, message Nick. We will bring
Message
you
Banner
here.
and
We will
Backbone.
give you a fucking platform, Banner and Backbone. We will
We
do
can
this
endorse
for
the
you.
hell out of you.
Like, we will endorse the fuck out of you because if you're willing to sit down with me or Nick or these guys, you know I'm going to give you a hard time. You know I'm going to give you a hard time. If you can hang, I will endorse the fuck out of you. I will scream your name from the mountaintop.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I will be your friend. I will be your friend. I will endorse you as a person.
We will
not as a
contact people
candidate.
for you.
And I
we'll reach out for you
I
and
will
help
call
you.
on my firebrands to get out and knock on doors for you, and they will do it. They will do it because they care. All of the people at Senator America, they will do it for free because they care. It is a simple matter of where we're at right now. Is it's you can do it. The idea that you can't do it for free. Zoran Mamdani did it for free.
Yeah.
People like, you know what? You can do it for free. The whole point of a democracy is you need people. You don't need money. The entire illusion of America, of all of this, is that you need money to do anything. It's a fucking lie. It's a lie, guys. Like, you know, and I see all the time, well, there needs to be an amendment. There needs to be this. There needs to be that. Then do the amendment. Then elect the people. Do the amendment. It's so fucking simple, guys. Like, okay, well, that's hard. Wait, I don't fucking care. Then let's do what we need to do to make it happen. I'm pissed today because I'm talking about accountability and there's none. There's zero. And that's on us for not demanding accountability. We need to be honest here. We are putting people on a pedestal who are not accountable because it makes us feel better, like there's somebody fighting when they're just not entirely capitulating. That is not the same. Guys, it's time to demand accountability. That means demanding accountability from everybody in a position to fight right now. Everybody with capital that can do something, that is choosing to sit and ride the wave of, being in a better position, the Gavin Newsoms, okay? Those people that are riding the wave of being on the right side of history. No, let's define what the right side of history is for a second. The right side of history is being in opposition to entrenched institutions that have contributed to the oppression and forced poverty of the American people, the stripping of healthcare, the stripping of the pursuit of happiness, the stripping of the ability of people to have economic mobility and just live a life that is not a miserable 9 to 5, getting up every day, commuting, working 40 hours for nothing, to not own a home, to not support their family, to come home and still not make ends meet, and then have to go and work another 8 hours overnight. To the fathers and the mothers and all of the people who are suffering every day, suffering, the people who contributed to Social Security their entire lives, who are now trying to pinch pennies, and to the Social Security Administration that is raising their benefits to, it's 0.1% less than what the expenses they accounted for. They're literally raising the benefits to less than what they measured the cost of living expenses would be. Tell me that this government is working for anyone but them. And then realize that the Democrats and all of them, they are not calling out these things that we are calling out every day. Yeah. And they're not even calling out the Epstein files every 5 minutes. It's just, there you go. Yeah, I'm fired up today. Sorry.
There's an organization we know that's larger, that's a very big media network that could have and could be paying, because if they don't want to do legal work, that's fine. But they could be paying a reporter or 10 to stand outside the White House or the Capitol building and do these things and read parts of Project 2025 and say, this is what they're doing. Here's how it's happening. Blah, step by step by step by step by step. But they were refusing to do that right now. There's no reason why this large media organization could not be doing that. That's media, is providing local on-the-ground coverage, is paying for reporters to report on the news as though you were local reporters. Stop encouraging people to just go do it. And how about you guys pay them to do it? Like, that's kind of what your job is to get more news out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead, Sharon.
So we started Centered America with the idea that we wanted to reform the Democratic Party's messaging because we believe that social democratic policies are actually centered. That is what being centered is, and the Democratic Party is way more right than we think, than they want us to think. And being centered really is for the people. It's social democratic policies. You have watched us now. All of us for the last 6 weeks we've been doing this live. You've gotten to know us at Centered America, of course, Banner and Backbone, and Shane, the Firebrand Project, and we have an idea to make our base a little bit larger, wider, and to make sure that people who want to run, for example, have a bigger community and have better resources. And so we're going to introduce to you something, and Nick and Shane and Gavin can talk about it as well, where we are sharing our subscriber base to make a bigger impact. I think that it's important for all of us to come together into one community and to multiple communities. And if we can make sure that all of you are here with us, standing with us, I think we can make a larger impact and keep this fight going. So what do you think about that, Nick?
I think it's a great idea. You and I have been talking about this idea a little bit behind the scenes and how we could. And I've also been hearing about this from other folks on lives, like Marlon Weems talks about it, or talked similar about it the other day with Lawrence Winterman, I think it was, where he was talking. No, it was with Stephanie Wilson, where they were talking about like he's reached out to big platforms and nobody um, and nobody gets back to him because he doesn't have a big enough base or whatever, what have you. And if we can't get the biggest base for free from like Substack, because Substack does pay some people to actually come over here and they give them a really big support network, and it's fucked up because it's only the big folks that they do it, because that's how they really make their money. It's not off of us. But we need to come together to support each other. So we got a chat in, or a question in the comment was, how do you get in touch with us about this? And the idea is we're going to make it very, very obvious and transparent what we're doing. That's why we're bringing it up here, and we want your feedback in this chat, on the comments, in a DM. If you feel, if you want to be private, there will be an opt-out, so that if you don't want to be shared, it would be a basic reciprocal or circular sharing between ourselves. Just these two platforms right now at first would be Banner and Backbone and Centered America, and that would really boost both of us. It would give y'all all of our content, and it wouldn't be adding you as paid subscribers. Say if you're paid on Centered America, you would not immediately become a paid subscriber on Banner and Backbone, and you would not have to get automatically charged. You'd come in as a free sub. This is not about taking your money or trying to force you to pay more when you don't want to. Want to be very transparent about what we're doing with this. I think it's a great idea, because let's take Banner and Backbone right now. Yesterday we hit a cool number, which was 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're on our way to 2,500 subs. We're in 49 of the states. Wyoming, you guys still are hanging on, not coming in yet, but we're in 39 countries too. Some of those obviously are Spanish countries or Spanish profiles, but we do have a lot of friends in Canada, around the US. Like, this would immediately allow us to boost these messages. And like Sherrod said, if you're running for something or you want to run for something, and like Shane said, come on this platform, DM me, DM us. Like, if you are actively running for a campaign or planning to run for a campaign, and you signed up and registered and you're getting ready, like a lot of registrations in some areas are coming due here soon. If you're in and you're signing up and you're ready to run, we will platform you. Like, I will gladly come on. And as Shane said, you know us. We're not going to be easy. You know, I'm not going to be easy. I don't hold back. I'm pretty blunt. But if you come on and you're able to answer our questions, and you're able to impress our audience, because it's not just about us, it's about audience feedback, this would allow us to actually platform good candidates and get their message out there for free. And that's what we can offer candidates very quickly, is free platforms for people across the country. And so I think it's great. I think it would help encourage organization and collaboration across the board, and maybe help us encourage that type of sharing between other platforms and other groups, so that we could all build together. So I love it.
And I think, we all have very distinct traits in what we're doing to fight back. Right now, Centered America, we just hit 10,000 subscribers. We're read in all 50 states and 72 countries. And we do believe in sharing that with Banner and Backbone, and then helping each other out. I want us all to write for each other. I want us all to report for each other. I want us all really collaborating. Of course, keeping each other's publications separate, but really helping each other and collaborating in a more substantial way. And so that's why I think that this subscriber sharing, where we're combining our bases, is so important. Gavin, what are you going to say?
I was just going to say, speaking of helping people out, we had a very successful first round of fundraising for veterans. And I'm glad to say that the shirts are going to be delivered today. We're going to get them ready for shipping and hopefully have them by mid-November in your guys' hands. So we're super excited about that. And honestly, I couldn't be happier with the outcome of this fundraiser. We've been able to do so much so far, and
That's an update I haven't
I
heard
always
yet.
like to say, our first fundraisers are our smallest, and every single one after is just going to get bigger and bigger thanks to our community here, and all of you guys tuning in right now.
Yeah. Shane, I definitely want your opinion on this. I want to comment on one question from a friend in the chat, Thunder Pussy. Also, I like your name. You've got the best name. And it is the Thundercats symbol, I think it is on there, which makes it even better. So rock on, Thunder Pussy. You're a freaking hero. But your question was, why don't you run for office, Nick? You have the character and no doubt highly intelligent. I appreciate that. I have considered it, but I can't because I'm in the middle of moving within my state, and I won't live in the district long enough to actually be able to run for an office. I will not rule out running in the future, though, for a future office. I just cannot do it this one because of legal restrictions on moving and when I'm living in a district, and I won't have lived in my district long enough to run as, say, for a state representative seat, which is eventually my goal is to start at a state rep seat if I can, because I think that'd be really cool. But I'm not doing it this term. But there are candidates in Arkansas who are running all over the place. And the Arkansas Democratic Party, this is why we talk about local stuff so much, is local parties are very different from the national party. The Arkansas State Party gets very, very, very little funding or attention, if any, from the national party. Yet we picked up a seat in the Arkansas State House last term. We picked up a seat. The first time in like 22 years or some shit, we've picked up a fucking seat. And we did it. We're closer to breaking the Republican supermajority in Arkansas. When I can run, not this term, but the next one, if I can help get my district another Democratic, I guess, Democrat or whatever I want to call myself at that point, is a constitutionalist then maybe we can have more. Appreciate the question. And because I've also been accused of using this platform to launch a political campaign. There was someone who wanted to accuse me of that and say I was going to violate Substack's terms of agreements and yada, yada, yada. And also, I'm not doing that. Like, if I was going to do that, I would start a publication that would be called Nick for Arkansas. And it would be specifically a political campaign publication where I could accept donations outside of Substack, where it would always be free. And then the donations would have to go through the campaign itself specifically. Yeah. I thought about it. You can tell I've thought about it, but I'm not going to run this term, just so everyone knows. We'll clear that up. But I do encourage people to highly, because state parties are doing well. We just need to wipe away the national parties and turn them into something smaller so that we don't have like a two-party monopoly.
Yeah, I've been working with Run for Something, the organization, to actually kickstart me working to get to office in the future. I'm also thinking about running for state legislature. I know Gavin has been me and Gavin have been talking about possible running. Shane, can you run? Like, are you of age to run?
I mean, I think I could. I'm 25, so I could run. But
you could run.
Here's my thing on running. I've thought about this, and to be honest with you, I think I'm more impactful doing what I'm doing now than what it would be if I were to run. Because the reality is, if I was in office, I would only be able to impact my district or, my one vote, and I could get in front of people, sure. But I wouldn't be able to do what I do every day. I wouldn't be able to bring people the Firebrand report. I wouldn't be able to write about the things I care about. I wouldn't be able to do these shows. Where I think the place I need to be right now, why the Firebrand report has been so successful, like for those of you guys who haven't seen, is we went from starting like 2 weeks ago, okay, with like 30 people per show. We're well over 100 consistently every time.
I think you had like 200 yesterday.
Like, we're getting to a point where, and why I asked myself, like, what am I doing that is so successful? And the truth is that we are provided news, but we're not provided context. What we need more than anything in the world right now is news with context, with implications. So I'm trying to spread that idea. Whereas if you give a headline, it's more than just the headline. It's the context that can come with it. And, if you guys want at Centered America, if you wanted to send over your reports and like have me do like a weekly column where I do implications on each of these headlines,
Heck yeah.
that is something I'd be happy to do. Because what is
Oh,
my
yeah.
passion? It's
Heck
putting
yeah.
together the picture. You can throw the headlines out all day long. There's a fucking master plan, guys. It is all a conspiracy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a realist. I am taking the pieces they give us because they are fucking so audacious. They think they're the smartest motherfuckers in the world. Like, where we got it. No, I know what your mineral deals mean. I know what your deal in Japan just told us. I'm watching, and we all need to be watching. And if I can help spread that idea, then that's where I need to be right now. Now, in the future, if I see that change in media, if I see that shift, I would be willing to consider that. And I thought about that. But like to their point, like I think, Sherrod and Gavin and Nick, I think each and every one of you would be exceptional leaders. I think we need more leaders like you. I think the age of, Congress, I think there should be an age cap to be in Congress. I think once you hit 65, you need to get out because Congress is for the people. If you're eligible for retirement benefits, you shouldn't be in Congress because the government's already taken care of you. I'm sorry. Like, we don't need Congress to take care of you if you're getting retirement benefits. Like, holy shit. I don't care. Like, term limits? Like, yes. Duh.
I could be convinced that term limits are not necessary if we actually encouraged voting instead. Because voting is the term limit. Is if you find that person isn't doing their job and enough people vote them out, that's the whole point of our system. Like, there's a reason there's no term limits for congressional members and senators is because you're supposed to vote them the fuck out if you don't like them. Stop
I agree.
voting for them and saying, oh, but your guy's worse, so I'm not going to change my guy. Well, your guy fucking sucks too. Like, get them out.
I agree with Supreme Court term limits. I really do.
That I agree with, yeah.
Yeah. Because I know it's to make sure that it wasn't partisan.
Scrutiny. I think they need there needs to be a agency. Me and Nick talked about this the other day. If you haven't seen our Palin Talk from Monday, go watch it because we talk about regulation. One of the things we talk about is this fourth branch of government based on the inspector general concept, where you have an independent agency that is strictly, their only job is nonpartisan oversight of every other branch of government. Because without nonpartisan oversight, like the judges there should be an agency that is constantly watching judges, that is enforcing those rules. Because if there's anyone who is in a position to undermine the Constitution more, it's SCOTUS. And we've seen the implications of SCOTUS being willing to undermine the Constitution because they can make state laws unconstitutional. And that undermines the rights of the state. That's huge.
Yeah. And I know, Supreme Court was made to not be partisan, and that's why there's no term limits, so they can actually have an unbiased way of doing it. But that's not the case anymore. There's so much technology. All of these people have opinions. They're elected by a president. Like, we have a majority conservative Supreme Court. It is not the same way it used to be. The Supreme Court needs term limits because if they don't, we're just going to have a decisions that are only partisan. Which is not the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're just over the top of the hour.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we do our final quick bit here of close everybody out. Give everybody a chance to promote our channels and what we do. I know all know who we are and what we do, but it's important to share this so everybody can become supporters with each of us. And so I'll start off here real quick just with Banner and Backbone. Come support the network. Come support Banner and Backbone. We are rapidly growing. We are, like we said, we're in 49 of the states. Wyoming, please, someone from Wyoming come join us. Like, we'd love to have y'all on board too. You deserve Banner and Backbone just like everybody else. Free and paid subs are always appreciated. Free subs are incredible. We just need as many of y'all as possible, because then we can get the word out. Then we can do candidate interviews. Then we can get people on and platform them and give them the tools that they need to be successful too. And some of those people may be y'all and should be y'all. You guys are consistently here. Let's step in, y'all. Come on. Be the change you want to be. And that's what Banner and Backbone is. It's your free entry point. And if you want paid entry point into civics, but it's your free entry point to share and get information. And we don't ever paywall anything here. We never will, because access to knowledge and information is powerful, and it is power. So Shane, I'm going to throw it over to you. Then I'm going to give it over to Sherrod and Gavin, and I'll close out. Actually, I'll do mine, and then I'll give it to Sherrod and Gavin, and we can close out after our two friends over at Centered America. For y'all, I'm Nick Perro. Come join me at Sick of This Shit Publications. That's my main home. I center more on illness and chronic illness discussions and the impacts of mental health. It's a bit of a masculinity show and reimagining masculinity in general, as well as facing chronic illness, artistic work, poetry, things like that. Please join me there, free and paid. I'm doing a 50% off sale until the end of October. And so any support there helps me on both, and it allows me to stay here full time and actually get all this stuff out for y'all. So thank you. And Shane, I'll hand it over to you, and then Gavin and Sherrod. For
sure. So obviously, I've been screaming a lot, so you probably looked at my name. I'm Shane Urich, the founder of the Firebrand Project. I'm a 25-year-old guy who, like, a lot of people, was facing the desperation, feeling hopeless, and I said, I'm going to get on here and I'm going to share my voice. And my goal is stated is to change the national dialogue. It's to challenge the common consensus, what's acceptable. It's what firebrands do. It's the very definition of a firebrand. It's to speak out against a system and promote change. What do I do now? Obviously, the Firebrand Project has evolved as time. And I think right now what I do and what I offer is I do a lot of lives now. I do a daily news report, which is like I kind of said earlier, an analysis with 3 key topics where I help kind of put together implications of certain headlines. I do a lot of really cool shows now with different people. There's the long-standing and original Palin Talk with Nick Perro every Monday. I have a show coming up here in an hour with Canadian composer John Oliver. It's the first official premiere of this show, The Dialogue. We're going to be talking about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So if you're able to check that out, I highly recommend it. And I'm just here pushing to change the dialogue and to be loud and to really call out the BS. Like, let's change that and grow a community of people who are firebrands, and I think we're doing that. So if you want to support me and the Firebrand Project, you can go ahead, scan that QR code, go on over there, become a free subscriber. If you become a paid subscriber, that's one of the things that, like Nick said, is very helpful for us. It helps us grow for a multitude of reasons, whether it puts us on leaderboards, on Substack, where, bestsellers, growing, rising, etc. Those things are very helpful. But I always say, I know it's hard right now. So the most important thing you can do regardless is become a free subscriber, like, share, restack, and comment on everything, because that is where, and most importantly, take what we talked about today, take it to the dinner table, take it to the library, take it to the bus stop, take it to book club and talk about it, because that is the real core of change, is what we do when we talk to each other. So I hope you find your way over to support me, to support Nick, to support Centered America. And I'm going to drop off here, guys, because I got to get ready for the next show. But I'm glad I was able to catch y'all, and I look forward to seeing you guys in a couple hours for another really big live stream
Oh yeah.
coming
Yeah,
up as
I'll
well.
talk about that I'll talk about that later. Thanks, Shane.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. All right. And pass it over to Gavin and Sherrod.
You want to do it this time, Shared?
No, I'm gonna let you do it.
Well, tell them what Senate America is, and then we can I'll
Yeah.
elaborate a little bit more.
So for anyone who's new, for anyone who's been here for a while supporting us, Senate America is a nonprofit organization, a 501c4 nonprofit organization fighting for democracy, resisting authoritarianism, and giving back resources to the people that need them to be able to fight back against the administration. We give out daily news briefs, make sure that people know what's going on within this administration, as well as local resources. We're giving back to veterans, and we're making sure that you have the resources you need to fight back. Gavin?
Speaking of big milestones, we just hit 10,000 subscribers on Substack today, which is really, really amazing to see all of the amazing people in our community. Shared summed it up very nicely. I'd like to add, with how we are helping people, I just want to reiterate, we just got in the shirts from the fundraiser that we have been working on tirelessly for the past couple of weeks here now. We're super excited to get those ready to go, get the final touches, and then ship them out to you guys in our amazing community. But yeah, we are just so grateful for it's such a great day for Senate America. It's such a great day for everybody in the community, everybody who's watching right now. I extend my gratitude to you from Senate America.
Robin says buttons and pins, please.
Oh, definitely. We stay tuned, Robin. We have a bunch of stuff in the pipeline there, ready to be announced in just a few days. So stay tuned.
That's awesome. I love all the work you guys are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, and thanks for coming on every week. I love this show. It's been great to get to know you guys. And as Shane alluded to, we have another show this afternoon. I will just quickly plug it. So join us this afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. It'll be myself, Shane Urich, Melissa Corrigan, assuming she's able to make it today, Sherrod Swaney, Gavin Favor. I got your name right this time, I think.
Both of ours.
And we're going to be joined by some really big guests. We are going to be joined tonight by Dean Blundell, Zev Shalev, and Lev Parnas. And we're going to be doing a discussion on how we can actually make real impact and where we can focus our efforts locally and organize and pressure current political candidates and current politicians, and who is weak and how can we get them to do what we need through social pressure rather than threats of violence, and what we can do as civilians and citizens to do our civic duty and save this country. So please join us at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a freaking incredible show. This will be the second time I've spoken to Lev. I've spoken to Dean and Zev quite a few times now. And you all know Lev Parnas, and it's going to be incredible to get to talk to him. So thank you guys. Thank you everyone for joining us today. That was our quick plug for this afternoon show. And we will be back next week on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, as always, for episode 7. Next week, we're going to be welcoming on Evan Fields from the Lincoln Square. He was sick today, so he couldn't make it, but he's going to join us next week for another discussion. So look forward to having him. Look forward to seeing y'all. Everyone in the audience, thank you guys both for being here. And stay strong, everyone. Sign Shane's petition for on Move On to end the shutdown and restore representative democracy and remove Speaker Johnson, because that is something that can be done. We can petition to get Speaker Johnson removed, and we can make that happen as citizens if we put enough pressure. So sign Shane's petition, go to Run for Something, that side of my head. Runforsomething.net. And have a great day, everyone. We'll talk to you all again soon. Thanks for joining.